I went in November of '66, and then I went to Nam, and if you came home and you had less than 3 months to serve, or 4 months to serve, they'd get you an early out. So in other words, I went in '66, and when I came home, it was in '68, August of '68, and I only had, because Army was 2 years if you got drafted, and so I only had 3 months to go, so when I came back, I was out of the Army.
What was the first thing you did when you returned to civilian life?
I got in touch with my family, went around and saw my family, my mom and dad, and the grandparents, and then I got a job.
If you weren't drafted, do you think you would have ever thought of the military at all?
No.
No?
Because, see, I was almost 25, and
Right.
at 25, you don't get drafted.
Right.
And I had a job. I was a manager in a bottle gas company in Indiana, so I had my, everything was going. I had my future plan. I would like to go back now and see what it's like after 50 years.
Yeah.
And then another bad days, I really didn't, when we got over there, and all of a sudden, mortar round was coming in where we was stationed. And so we had to go in the bunkers. So that was one of the first days. So I was in the bunker, and you heard them, going around you, and I happened to think, well, shoot, these guys are trying to kill you. I mean, reality set in then that you got it. This isn't a John Wayne movie. This is this is actually what's happening. In Indiana, and my buddy had a race car, so we would work on his race car, and so when I took the test, I, way high on being a mechanic because I knew all about that. So luckily, I was a mechanic. If not, I might have put a rifle in my hand and went out there and, so that you take tests and watch it qualify.
How do you think your time in the military has changed you?
The only thing is I appreciate life a little bit more. And we'd have girls, clean up our barracks and so forth like that, the Vietnamese. And a couple of them said, "Do you have gold on your streets?" They thought that the United States had gold streets, paved with gold. I said, "No, it's just basically just the same over there as it is here." But I would just, appreciate what the other guys did too over there, because we all made a difference. Some guys, I wasn't out in the boonies and jungles getting shot at every day and shooting somebody, and I kind of felt guilty that I wasn't out there. I was behind being a mechanic, but then we all have something to do. So I appreciate life a little better.
Is there any stories about your buddies you want to share?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, that one picture of my taken in the motor pool, I was with this guy for about 8 months. We was in the same unit. And I stopped at the Waffle House up in Dayton, in Vandalia. And this guy came in and I said, "Boy, you look familiar." He said, we was together for 8 months. And so we was in the same unit, so of course we keep contact with each other now. But he's the one that got me that, took a picture. And then of course my cousin, and we still see each other. He lives in Colorado Springs.
Oh, wow.
And so we see him like once every 3 years. And so that was enjoyable. That was one of my, and I haven't seen a lot of other guys. When I was over there, was 500,000 troops at a crack. So you don't see many people. But whenever I go someplace and see a veteran, I ask where they served in case somebody would be in my unit. And there's one guy when I was in AIT that I don't know what I did, but he was upset. He came over and was going to punch me in the nose. And
Did you punch him back?
Well, I didn't have to. There was a big, tall guy.
Oh.
He came and stood in front of me and said, "If you got a problem, you see me before you." So I don't know, that was good.
Problem solved.
Problem solved. If you're going to make a friend with a big, tall guy, a strong guy, then you'll be all right.
You just punched him for no reason?
Huh?
For no reason?
I must have said something to him.
What a jerk.
Yeah, no, he was a jerk. I mean, I was a nice guy, but...
Did you lose any close friends at all, or lose any friends?
Yes, in Vandalia. I don't know where you know Vandalia, and it was up north of Dayton. And there were 6 guys in Vandalia that never came back, was killed in Vietnam. And there's not that many in Vandalia. but there were 6 guys that, and I was surprised. I had a class reunion, and my 50th year, and I walked, by the way, I walked in the door and looked around and said, man, there's a bunch of old people here. Because everybody changed after 50 years. And I found out that there were 6 or 7, 8 guys in my graduating class that was in Vietnam. And I never knew that before, so we kind of talked.
That's kind of cool.
That is cool. Kind of talk about, different things that happened. But,
Now that you look back, are you glad that you got drafted?
well, I'm glad I served the country. I mean, I'm glad I got drafted. As it was, everything always comes together.
Yeah, and everything turned out pretty well, it seems
It
like.
turned out pretty well. If I wouldn't have got drafted, I might have stayed, I probably stayed with my wife, maybe not, but if I went in the Army, so I came home, and we was divorced, and I found the wife I'm married to now, and so it's a blessing that I went to Vietnam. If not, I don't know what happened. Probably, it all come together anyways, but, so there was just on that. And it was all walks of life. Everybody was different.
What advice would you give to like Lexi or young people that are wanting to recruit to go out?
I tell you what, it's a, you make it what, you can make it like what you want to make it. You do the best you can, you listen, and the attitude, have a good attitude. Sometimes it's rough to not have an attitude, I mean a good one.
Yeah.
Sometimes you might have a sergeant or somebody like that is, is rough, but your attitude and keep a good attitude. I think that's about the best thing. And you know you're going to make a difference in somebody's life, but you don't think so. But you'll touch somebody. And I know when I got ready to come home, we went out. Didn't feel real good. I was drinking quite a bit because I was going back home. And this one guy helped me out. He helped me, get my stuff together. And because there's a couple of times these kids come over at 18 years old, and they just got out of high school. And now they're getting shot at in war. And so I kind of talked to them a little bit and said, hey, if you have any problems, then just let me know and we can, discuss it and make you feel a little better. So it's what you make of it. And you treat everybody the way you want to be treated. And I tell you, most of the people are all right, but there's some people that just aren't too nice.
Well, thank you so much for coming in and telling us your
Well,
story.
thank you.
We really appreciate it.